Kent getting bent. Hey, Mike, saw you comment on it, but how did Kent Johnson just get healthy scratched by the Jackets? If they were a contender, sure, but they stink. Play the young guns. That comes to us from Emmanuel. So obviously, it was kind of a shocker this morning when a tweet came out from a Columbus Blue Jackets reporter that Kent Johnson, as well as Liam Foudy and Adam Boquist. Boquist was the guy that they got in the Seth Jones trade, former top 10 pick in 2018, were healthy scratches in the season opener against Philadelphia. A season opener that the Columbus Blue Jackets would go on to lose 4-2 to the Philadelphia Flyers. So obviously not a good showing in terms of the team. But it's a shocker. I mean, Kent Johnson, 2021 fifth overall pick. You expect after a pretty solid 40-point rookie season, you expect him to take that next step. Last year, he played between 14 and 15 minutes. You're expecting him, maybe not so much because they have Fantilli. He might have switched to the wing. But you're expecting him to play at least 15 again, maybe 16 minutes, step into that legit top six role. And now he's getting a healthy scratch. He's getting a healthy scratch. Pascal Vincent had some pretty interesting quotes to say about this. What do you need to see from Kent Johnson? He said that he's a very skilled player. He's a great guy in the room. Guys respect him, and there's a reason why. But he had to make a decision. He kept on saying that Kent Johnson will be a Blue Jacket for a very long time. And he's going to be a great player. But moving on to the second quote, he kind of was a little bit not trashing him, but his training camp was not the best. His training camp was not the best in terms of Kent Johnson. He said, I took a pretty long detour here. In KJ's case, that's the pace. Just get the pace in going. I know he can bring it. He can. The morning after, he was one of our best players, so it's good to see it. So in terms of that, there's one more quote that I want to show, but he really stressed this pace of play that Columbus is trying to play with, and apparently Kent Johnson wasn't bringing it in training camp. Here's the other quote when talking about another guy that made the opening night roster over him, Emil Brinsham. Brinsham is second on our team for points in preseason. In the preseason, Kent Johnson had only 2 assists in 4 games. Brinsham had 3 goals, 4 assists in 5 games. So that's for context. Brinsham, he's got a lot of confidence. He gets involved physically. He's good on forechecking, scoring goals. So that's what we want. We want guys who are competing, and my job is to reward the guys that are doing to their best abilities, something it creates that competition within the team. And for me, that's healthy. Guy like Brinsham comes in here, and he's like, I'm a bubble guy, but he's here to make the team and earn his ice, and he did it. Nobody can argue with that, so good for him. So obviously, not taking like a dig at Kent Johnson, but just saying that some other guys played better, made the team over him, which I think is fair. I mean, yes, he is the 5th overall pick. Yes, Kent Johnson is more of a future player than, say, a Emil Brinsham, a Sean Corrali, an Eric Robinson. But I do kind of respect to agree that he's not holding Kent Johnson on that pedestal just because he went 5th overall, that he's almost entitled to playing time. I found this tweet pretty interesting from a Columbus Blue Jackets account. People wanted Larson fired because he didn't hold players to a high enough standard. They want Vincent fired for holding players to a higher standard. So when looking at that, when looking at Kent Johnson, I keep on saying Wyatt Johnston, like Wyatt Johnston, Kent Johnson. I think they're both 2021 draft. That's messing me up. But Kent Johnson, when looking at him, yeah, I do appreciate that Vincent is coming in and saying he wasn't a part of the draft process for Kent Johnson. He doesn't really owe him anything. He needs to make the team. This will be a problem, though, if he continuously gets scratched, if you know what I mean. Like, if they're throwing him up in the press box multiple nights, I think that's going to start being ridiculous. As long as this is just, I know you have the talent, you didn't display it in camp, we're going to have to healthy scratch you tonight, but once you do start displaying that, you're going to have a serious role in this team. If Kent Johnson goes from 14 minutes, 30 seconds last year to playing 11, 12 minutes next year, then I'd probably have a problem with that. Then I'd honestly suggest that they send him down to the AHL. But if this is just a one-off in terms of Kent Johnson, didn't have the best camp, Vincent wants to show him a lesson, teach him a lesson in the sense that not everything's handed to you. You're not the golden boy. You're not Connor Bedard you're 5th overall pick. We believe in you. You have the talent, but you need to prove it. I kind of like that move. I saw a lot of people extremely outraged. And to a degree, I initially was like, that's weird, whatever. I didn't say that's a bad move. But obviously, Pascal Vincent knows more about what's going on with the Columbus Blue Jackets than me and you. Shocker. Shocker. I'm breaking some news with that. I'm going to trust him in terms of evaluating based on the training camp who gives him the best chance to win the next game. He's in practice. He's doing all that stuff. I do think it will be bad if he prioritizes Eric Robinson, Sean Corrali, Emil Burnsham like further down the season. If Kent Johnson is not developing, I partially blame him. And also, they do need to give him some ice time. You cannot throw him in a bottom 6 role because he did just score 40 points. He clearly has the offensive tools that in part goes on Pascal Vincent to help teach him that system and optimize him to the best ability. So this is definitely going to be a situation to monitor. I think people are overreacting to a degree. I could see Kent Johnson playing 16 minutes the next game just because Pascal Vincent lights a fire under his ass. And maybe that's something that he needs. Maybe that's just something that he needs. Some players do respond positively to these healthy scratches. And if you don't, that's honestly a bad sign. I would prefer. I would like to think that Kent Johnson sees this instead of saying, I scored 40 points last year. I'm a 5th overall pick. I'm the guy. Like, I'm the franchise player for this team. I hope he realizes, oh, maybe I didn't play my best in the training camp. Maybe I have another level to get to. So I really hope that happens with Kent Johnson because I am still very high on him. I mean, last year, he displayed a ton of talent. He obviously scored that one disgusting Michigan goal, but he has the offensive tools to be an eventual 70 to 80 point guy. I would go so far to say that. So I hope that this really does light a fire under his ass and we see a new and improved, more pace, as Pascal Vincent says, pace and two-way play in Kent Johnson's game because he wasn't that good defensively last year. Maybe this could be one of the better things to happen in his career. And when looking back on it, it's only one game. It's not the end of the world, but that's definitely something to monitor.